before we get into RuneScape, I want to do this. I want to do this political compass test. I've said a few times now, I have never done one of these before. I have a feeling I know where I'll land, but it's pretty interesting. And, you know, I don't know how accurate this is. I've seen some other folks do it online, but it's like one of the big misconceptions with tests like these is like they're asking you a question, but it's not a question. So like they give you a position, like a political position, and you either strongly disagree, agree, or strongly agree. And based on your answers and, you know, kind of it gives you a spectrum of kind of where you land in the compass, in the political compass. So I want to try this out, and if you guys like want to do it with me, you know, anybody who wants to do it, let me know in chat, and we can do it together. If anybody wants to go first, feel free, because I'm interested to see where everybody lands and the answers to your questions, even though I just said they're not questions. I don't know how else to put it. But if you want to do it in chat, we can do that, or we can go into Discord and we can do it together. Yeah, Ted. I will link the Discord in chat here. So anybody who wants to join, boom. All right, Discord is in. Steve Mario, welcome, my friend. I don't know what you mean, though. But thanks for joining. You want to see where you land on the political compass? All right. So you know what I'm going to do actually is open up this channel. Edit channel. I don't know how to do this. I'm such a boomer. Take the private channel out. Save. There we go. I should title this Boomer Gamer. Talks politics with no credentials. Scoring method. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, who knows how reliable it is. This is the one that I've seen people use before. You know, so I don't know exactly how reliable the formula is, and maybe there are some out there that we could actually see the formula, and you know, but this is the one that we're going to use today because I've seen people use it before. So we'll base our findings and relate it to the folks of, you know, the folks that I know of who have taken it before. So the voice channel should be open on Discord. If anybody wants to join in, feel free. We can chat it out. We can go over the test together. But I'll start it out and see where Grand Moff Zeezy lands. Yeah. All right. So Question number 1. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. I am going to strongly agree with that. I am very anti-corporation. Steve, it seems like you're way ahead of me on this, my man. I didn't even go to college. Yeah, I understand what you're saying with that. I know that it is very rudimentary. Basically, you're the number of +2 to -2 answers is where you're gonna land. You know, from 0. I get that, but I think it's fun. All right. Next question. I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. Yeah, we gotta... I'm like almost between strongly disagree and disagree on that one. I mean, there's so much evidence of states being wrong, especially ours. So, you know what? We're gonna strongly disagree on that one. We're gonna go radical, folks. Steve, this is amazing. I love your engagement. What does support mean here? So in terms of support, I guess we can define support as... I'm going to disagree. I guess we could define support as back the plan. Like, I mean, supporting... As a citizen and as a voter, the most you can support, anything is to vote for it, whether it be referendum or... by voting your representatives in, right? You can vote for the representative that most closely resembles your feelings. And I think in terms of supporting your country or showing support of your country, I mean, that's kind of the most we can do, other than, organizing and things like that, which is totally cool. I'm not an organizer. I would participate in organizations, but I'm not an organizer. So that's my feeling on it. It's rudimentary support. Do I actually back what they're doing? That's how I would define it. If you have a different definition, let me know. And I guess by them, I mean the current federal government. Right? It's like backing up every move of your favorite sports team makes no sense, no matter how wrong or right it is. Yeah, I would agree with that. The most I would do is vocalize the support and vote for it. Obviously, vote for or against it. Them, the people that would represent me. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Oh, strongly agree with that. Strongly agree that nationalism is not for me. It's not for me. I support the people in the country, not the country itself. I think that's a very important difference. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Okay. Yeah, we're going to strongly disagree with that. And I'm probably going to leave it at that. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Man, these are pretty low. I didn't actually look at these questions beforehand. I've seen some people do it before, so I know there's a couple of these in there, these philosophical questions, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I will get into that here. Let's see. Big problem in this country is not understanding how lucky we are to have been born here. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, and I guess I appreciate that I was born here, but You know, there's another way that people use support. Like, if my sister makes a decision I don't like, I can't help it, but what am I going to do? She's still my sister and I care about her. I support her no matter what. So would you support her if she decided to pick up heroin? Right, I feel like if she made a life-threatening decision, if you actually support her, you would try to sway her away from trying that bad thing. You know, so I guess you can support her in a way of getting out of that, right? So I guess that's a fair comparison. Like, you can support her in trying to dissuade her from doing something like that. But if she makes that decision, you don't necessarily need to support that decision. If she's already made that decision, I think you would have a responsibility, especially, you know, for the comparison to your sister, to dissuade her from, or, well, like I said, she's already made that decision. So to correct that decision, I guess you could say. So in comparison to the country, cutting her off sounds like a way of supporting her if you believe in that. You don't believe in that. Cutting her off sounds like a way of supporting her. Well, I guess it would be the withdrawal of support. And I guess so we could be splitting hairs on the, well, I guess not even splitting hairs. I mean, we could be different on how we're defining support here. There are many ways that you can support somebody. You can support somebody morally, you can support somebody, you know, financially, emotionally. You know, there are many ways that you can support somebody, but in my definition, and the way I'm using it for the country, I have no allegiance to my country. Like, you know, in this next question, right? In this next question, where was it? No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. So I agree. I think it's foolish to be proud of your country of birth, because I realistically, I have no allegiance to my country. My allegiance is to the you know, in my philosophy, my allegiance is to the global humanity. Right? It's my country. Why should I have allegiance to it? You know, the people in it, maybe, but the country itself, blind nationalism, not for me. So in that respect, supporting my country, if they make a decision, right? What was it? I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. Supporting my country, if they make a decision I don't agree with, then no, I'm not going to support them. No, you're trying to help her out because heroin addicts is bad. Heroin addiction is bad for her health. You're trying to do it. It's going to help her out. That's support. I like I said, I can see it being defined that way. I agree with you, and especially in the context of it being your sister. But in the context of it being your country, you know, I guess in my opinion, the most support, I don't know, the most support I would give is by voting against the people that are doing the things that I don't want them to do. I feel like it's an okay equivalency, but it's just they're too different to really compare one to one. Like, I agree with you. If my juiciest boy brother was into heroin, I'd tell him to stop, and I wouldn't talk to him until he did. Maybe that's support. I don't know. Another ambiguous word is country, the population, or the state. I am taking the definition of country as the state. I don't think it's all that ambiguous, to be honest. But I also don't want to spend like a bunch of hours on every question. Though I actually appreciate the dialogue on it because it does put a different spin on it. You know, these aren't straightforward questions, and I will try to define each question as we go here. Getting philosophical. Philosophical on the first stream. Love it. Yeah, man, that's awesome. I have no credentials to be doing so, but it's fun. it's fun to talk. And I'm also here to learn too, man. So if I'm wrong, and my mind can be changed completely. All right, so let's move on. And I'm more than happy to go over these again as we get through some other folks if we want to do it. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I am going to have to disagree on this one because I understand. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So the enemy of my enemy. Let's define my enemy first. So my enemy is obviously in opposition to my fundamental beliefs. That's how we're gonna define enemy. Is somehow in opposition to my fundamental beliefs. So if the enemy of my enemy is my friend, we might have some strategic advantages or strategic ways to help each other. But if I fundamentally disagree with the enemy of my enemy, then I'm certainly not going to call them my friend. I think we have to go further than just like ally on this one. So I'm going to disagree. There. That's the beauty of the internet. You never need credentials. That is correct, my friend. Who needs credentials? Oop. I got RuneScape up over here. It's yelling at me. All right. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. That's tough. I think I would agree there, because I'm thinking of the most extreme example. And I'm certainly not an interventionalist. But intervention can be necessary. I think it should be avoided at all costs. But it can be justified in the most extreme examples. Things like the Holocaust, right? Maybe not the best example because military laws were broken on one side already. But let's think of another example. Yeah, so let's give the examples that I'm looking for. So, or I'm thinking of rather. So, extreme examples. The more I think about it, I appreciate you bringing that up, Steve, because most of the time when intervention is necessary, it's warranted. It doesn't really defy international law, right? Like genocide. Like I think, should we find that the Uyghurs in China are undergoing a genocide, right? That the international laws have already been broken. So is intervention necessary there? World War II, as an example. Darth Buckman, thanks for joining the stream. World War II, yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good example. But again, I think that's so maybe it's too similar an example to what we already talked about with the Holocaust. International law was already broken at that point. So I guess I can't really think of examples that intervention is necessary when it's not justified. Can I? Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Like things like, the Iraq War. The war in the Middle East. Like, obviously not justified. So obviously not justified. And I would certainly not agree with the military action that we took with that. Huh. We're going to circle back. Give me more examples, chat. Give me some more examples on on what would justify military action that defies international law? That's an interesting question. So the next question says, there is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Oh, that's interesting. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. You know, I can put this into two buckets of what I can think of. So, worrying fusion of information and entertainment. So I would think of things like this, right? Information and entertainment. We're talking about informational. Things like the late night hosts, like fucking the new Greg Gutfield show. I don't know. Has anybody seen that on Fox? Greg Gutfield is now hosting a late night style show on Fox. All right. All right. So let me get back to this. All right. We're gonna go back to the question above, and then we'll move on. So Darth Buckman is a pacifist. Yeah. I mean, I'm into that. I get that. But I'm also a globalist. And the strongest country in the world, I think, has, especially if we're going to continue to spend what we spend on our military, kind of have a responsibility in some respects to, bring justice to the world. Sorry. So Steve says, is war itself illegal? Could a country not just declare war against someone they accuse of committing genocide? Isn't the big concern like killing civilians? All wars are poor people killing poor people. Who makes international law? Okay, Steve. All right, so let's work backwards. So international law. I mean, I guess we kind of have an idea of what international law is from the UN, the Nuremberg trials, things like that. That would be our answer there. I mean, I guess it's subjective depending on what we're talking about. But, we'll go with the UN and things like the Nuremberg trial. Lizard people, definitely. Lizard people, for sure. I think that's proven at this point. Now, is war itself illegal? Is a great question. And I think that goes to Andy's pacifism, which I get. I totally get. War should be our very last-ditch resort. But if wars are poor people killing poor people, what about the state killing their own people? Is that not worse than a war? I mean, I think World War II is justified. Could we agree with that? Does everybody agree with that? Maybe. I don't know. Was World War II justified? Let's start there. I don't know the answer to that. Again, war is not a preferred option, but when we know what happened, 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust, I feel like it's justified to step in as an allied nation. Now, if there's some, I'm willing to change my mind, but I don't know that really answers our question. A lack of intervention would have likely resulted in a worse result. Yeah, I agree. That's why I think it's justified. There's ethics and morals and laws. War, killing people, is not considering others and is therefore unethical. It can be moral and legal, but not ethical. So I can understand what you're saying there, but is it more ethical So let's take ethical and put it on a spectrum. Is it more ethical to allow injustice, vast, disgusting injustices throughout the world, than intervening militarily? Is it more moral? Is it more ethical to allow that to happen? I don't know. I don't think so. I think ethical has to be placed on a spectrum. It's not a yes or no. You don't believe in ethical duty. Okay. I mean, I think that's what that's a perfectly fair position. But I would disagree. It seems very libertarian of you. I would disagree. I think ethical duty is necessary to have peaceful, prosperous. Why can't I think? Yeah, prosperous world. Prosperous. Oh my God. My brain's dead already. That's not good. All right. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I don't know enough about international law to answer this question, I think. So I'm going to go with my gut, and we're going to go agree. Because I want to move on. That was a good discussion, though. I like that one. Very good question. There are, I believe, 6 pages of these. So we're gonna move on. There's now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. So, all right, back to what I was saying about this. So I would put these into there's a few buckets of information and entertainment, like just news entertainment. I think is taking over. I don't disagree with this, but I think it's almost. I mean, I'm the biggest consumer of news entertainment. I mean, all day during my work day, I'll have on, I'll have on, independent news medias. Sometimes I listen to, the mainstream news channels. Not very often, but I'm constantly consuming, news entertainment. All right, let's button up this last one real quick with some of these last chats. So, in some senses, it is justified, obviously, when talking the Holocaust. But when we look at retaliation against the Japanese, the U.S. response was to murder innocents with nuclear weapons to snuff out the threat. You'd have to look at it. I totally agree with that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it should be the last resort. Military action should be the last resort. And is it always justified? No way is it always justified. The Japanese is a perfect example of that. But I think maybe sometimes it is. And again, I don't know enough about international law to really say where the line is on that. So I think I'm just going to stick with my agree answer on that. Now, Steve says this is in reference to ethical duty. It's not libertarian. It's called deontology, the normative philosophy thing. Some people say we should judge decisions by the consequences. That's a different normative philosophy. There's others that say judge by the character of the person, virtue ethics. Andy, I'm going to need you to step in here and explain this to me. I'm not smart enough to understand what Steve is saying. Where's my philosophy major friend? Come on. No, I'm just kidding. So, all right. So let me just reread this so I have a better idea of what you're talking about. So deontology, I don't know the term. I probably should. It sounds like a term that I should know. But some people say we should judge decisions by the consequences versus character of the person. That's fair. I feel like you can judge decisions by the morality of that decision, though. Right? Not necessarily character of the person or the consequences. I don't think means to an end is a good philosophy. That's interesting. All right, guys. What about this next one? So we gotta move on. Worrying fusion of information and entertainment. I agree with this to some extent. I think that, you know, we look at things like Fox News and other, you know, right wing leaning, and maybe this is my bias, right? I'm sure that people on the right wing would say that the, you know, things like the Daily Show, things, even mainstream media that you see, you know, I feel like the right wing would say that that's all a problem as well. And maybe this is my bias, but I think that news organizations on the right tend to be extremely dangerous, and target people with fear to sway them in a direction that does not benefit them. That is my big problem with organizations like Fox News. So in this circumstance, I'm going to say agree, even though I am, like I said, probably one of the biggest consumers of news entertainment. And I do think that it serves a purpose, because I'm not the one that's going to be I don't know what I was going to say, because I just saw, you said fear, not entertainment like Marvel films. I don't think so. No, I don't think that's, I think news entertainment is what we see on TV. It's what we see online. That's news entertainment. Right. Most people are not, unfortunately, reading studies and data and, you know, investigative journalism. They're not reading that stuff for themselves. They're listening to somebody tell them what their opinion is on it, what the important parts are. Again, myself included. I think everything that we see, almost, right, unless you're actually reading for yourself and doing your own research, actual research, not just listening to other people, that's entertainment, in my opinion. Ted says on the subject, the 24-hour news cycle has injected entertainment into news. Yeah, it's true. As much as I love Last Week Tonight, I would have to be fair and say it's a liberal reflection of the fear-mongering entertainment shows on Fox, etc. It definitely can be a dangerous on either side of it. Yeah, totally. The left is certainly not exempt from spreading misinformation or disinformation. But I would have to agree with a lot of that. All right, let's go to the next page. People are ultimately divided by class than by more by class than by nationality. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. I guess, you know, if we look at it from a what does he say there, Steve? It's before 24-hour news. Look up Michael Parenti, talk about it. He wrote a book, Make Believe Media. Yeah, I agree. I don't think the 24-hour news cycle is what has caused there to be such a swell of entertainment in news. But it's definitely evidence of it. So people are more divided by class than by nationality. All right, so ideally, I don't know, ideally they wouldn't be divided at all, right? But I think in reality, class sets us apart more than nationality. Now, I believe that there are people in, you know, nations like, you know, Ecuador, for example, who, no matter what they do, are not going to be able to get out of, you know, this kind of second world, you know, second class citizenship. I guess not citizenship. That's a bad way to put it. Second class, you know, in terms of hierarchy, social status, financial status. However, I think I would have more in common with somebody middle class from Ecuador than I would with anybody making $1 billion. right? I think that my culture is more based on class than it is based on where I'm from, right? And this is this is totally anecdotal, but I mean, my family took in foreign exchange students for years. We had kids come in from Ecuador, like I said, just because it's on my mind. Germany, Norway, Finland, all over the world. We knew people from Asian countries, and they're all kind of like middle class kids, and we got along. Like we all kind of had the same background in terms of class, no matter where they were from. I feel like that's pretty strong evidence for me, and I know that that's I have no data to back that up, other than immigration. But yeah, we're gonna go with strongly agree on this one. So the next question: controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I don't know enough about this topic. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Well, I mean, the inflation that we've seen in some aspects of this country is astronomical, and we can't quite keep up with it. But unemployment, again, I don't know enough about these. This is a tough one. All right, we're just gonna go gut reaction on this one because I want to get through this. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I think that has to be true. People being able to afford goods and services in this country, no matter what the unemployment rate is so important. And I believe the state should step in to help those unemployed. So the more I think about this, we're going to go strongly agree. Unemployment is people wanting to work but can't find it. They end up going to drugs and suicide. I don't know the stats on that. I'm sure that more people go to drugs and suicide who are unemployed than are not unemployed. I can believe that. I know we don't have the stats on it, but usually that's not the only contributing factor, I would imagine. And again, unemployment, I think, unemployment is going to be a natural consequence of our future, I feel like. With the amount of automation that's already going into practice, unemployment is going to be a huge reality of our future. And so it's not natural. You don't think it's natural? Explain. I think it absolutely will be a natural consequence of where we're headed. I'm not saying the state creates unemployment on purpose. Is that what you're saying? States need policemen and jailers at least. Sure, I'm not saying the entire country will be unemployed. It imposes tax in order to get people to want to become policemen and jailers. It unemploys people this way. I'm confused as to what your point is. I don't really know where you're going with this, Steve. I mean to say, when I say unemployment is going to be a natural consequence of our future, I mean to say that jobs that people currently hold, whether it be from technological advancement or a green future, like, kind of getting rid of natural resources and going to renewable resources, which will create jobs in and of itself, but it will, close jobs and as well. But that's what I mean when I say it's a natural consequence of our future, and the state is going to have to deal with that. Without the tax, nobody wants the money, and so nobody is unemployed. I don't think that it's an incentive thing. I don't think it's an incentive thing at all. I think people want to work, and for the most part, I think people actually do want to contribute to their society. I don't think it's a tax incentive thing. I think it's more of an automation thing, and especially if we're, automation is one of those things, right? But, with a growing population, we'll see less jobs available as we take them away. If we grow our population and take jobs away, we're going to have less jobs available. Now, regardless of whether we will have more unemployment in the future, whether it's a natural consequence or not, let's talk about right now. So right now, unemployment is only important because of the type of society that we live in. We live in a capitalist society, a capitalist country. Now, I can't speak globally on this, but in capitalism, if you can't make money, if you don't have a place in the market, then you're irrelevant, essentially. And the state will help you to an extent, but you have to contribute to society in some way. And I think everybody should contribute to society in some way. But I feel like inflation, if it's left to get out of control, that's where we'll see like a Venezuela type state, right? Where they're printing money left and right. Now their currency is worthless. And people are working, they're just not making any money. They're just not making they're not making enough money to live, really. Their work, though important, is worthless, essentially. They're just not making the money they need to live. So they can't afford goods and services, no matter whether they work or not. So we're gonna stay on strongly agree here. That's my perspective on it. Want to work is different than need to work. You got inflation backwards. They don't print money, causing it to devalue. The money devalues first, then they print more money. Sure. I mean, that's yeah. Either way, their money is devalued. They can't afford the goods and services that they once could, not because they're not working, but because they're undervalued. All right, next question. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Strongly agree. Full stop. Give me all that regulation. Totally necessary. Corporations are there for one thing, and that is to make money. It's been proven time and time again that they will make money any way they can legally. Strongly agree. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need, is a fundamentally good idea. I should have taken a philosophy class before doing this so I can understand this better. So let's reread it. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need, is a fundamentally good idea. I need to make sure I'm understanding this right. Where does this come from? Is this a Marx thing? It is a Marx thing. Popularized by Marx in 1875. Principle refers to free access and distribution of goods and capital. Marx Sevilla. Yeah. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. All right, so I don't have enough intellect in my brain to break this down. So we're gonna go agree. This is not, I know it's not the best way to answer your question, but we're gonna go agree. The freer the market, the freer the people. So no, I'm gonna have to strongly disagree here. Freer is such a subjective word that it's hard to define a question like this, define a position like this. There's just so much subjectivity within the word freer, that I'm not even going to waste time trying to define it. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. It's a sad reflection of our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. Yeah, I would agree with that. I guess it does create jobs, but it's also killing our environment, and it really only exists to make money. I suppose it is a convenience, but is a convenience a sad reflection of our society? Maybe. I guess that's what I believe. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. Strongly agree. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. Yeah, strongly agree with that. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. Yeah, tax all the billionaires. Tax them all. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Yeah, definitely, right? Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. I think that's true. I think that some people they just start with the higher power, right? And I think that protectionism is important to protect the most vulnerable. Sure, we'll go agree. I feel like there's more to protectionism than I'm presenting. I don't know enough about it. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. Strongly disagree. These questions are good. Some of them are tough. I guess not questions, but some positions I'm more familiar with than others. And this is one of them that I am more familiar with. The rich are too highly taxed. Strongly disagree. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. I've kind of gone back and forth on this. Things like, public option. I think, should we just give, I guess the question that I have been struggling with is, should we give the highest standards of Medicare universally? Steve, what do you got for me? Economist Warren Mosler talks about compliance cost of income tax, meaning it takes a lot of man hours to calculate people's tax liabilities, so much so that it itself is a big waste, and we could be better off with simpler property tax. Fair, but they should be taxed more, without a doubt. Corporate tax rate, effective corporate tax rate, put it through the roof. You know, and the reason why and I don't know this, but I have a feeling that the reason why it's so complicated is because corporations are constantly trying to get their tax rate as low as possible. Corporations and the rich people who typically own those corporations, they're trying to limit the amount of income tax that they can pay. So getting rid of loopholes seems like a better answer to me than getting rid of income tax. Maybe? That's my position. Those with the ability to pay should have higher access to higher standards of medical care. You know, this is one that I'm going to just disagree with, because I think that we should universally provide high standards of medical care. That said, if somebody can and wants to, not that I think there should be billionaires, but, you know, for the folks who are in our society, can and want to go to the best practitioner in the world, who's to say? I don't know. Like, I feel like I know that I strongly disagree with this, but it's like it's like weighing whether, like, I'm constantly weighing my utopia versus my reality. Like, I guess this is supposed to be more utopian, but I've been kind of waffling back and forth on it. Government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Yeah, I agree with that. I strongly agree with that. Consumer protection. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Multinationals to create monopolies. I'm not really like a free market guy. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Yeah. What were my thoughts on Sanders? Are you talking about Bernie Sanders, our senator from Vermont? And in what respect are you asking my thoughts on him? Just of him and his positions? Is that what you're asking me? His economic policies? I mostly agreed with his economic policies. Yeah. Mostly agree. There are some things I would take a little further than him, some things I wouldn't go as far as him. But it really depends on exactly what you're talking about. Oh, excuse me. Diet Pepsi coming through. All right. Next, abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Next question. All authority should be questioned. Authority should be questioned. To an extent. Sure, we'll go with agree on that. Yeah, we'll go with agree on that. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Strongly disagree. Strongly disagree with that. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Strongly disagree. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. That's an interesting position. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. No, I mean, what? I'm trying to think of why it shouldn't be. Yeah, it should be. I mean, I didn't attend class all the time, and I should have. I guess, yeah, it's for your best. It's in your best interest. Compulsory. Yeah. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. Yikes. Boom. Next question. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Oh my goodness gracious. I could not agree more strongly with that. No, we will agree with that. We will agree with that because spankings are my absolute last resort. I just like, maybe it's just I guess it's just a me thing, but I just, like, I have tried it. I've spanked my 3-year-old before, and it just eats me alive every time I do it. Like, I didn't need to physically hurt him. Did not need to physically hurt him. And it emotionally hurt me. Steve Mario says Sanders is chair of the Senate Committee on Budget. Yes, he is. In it, he hired Dr. Professor Stephanie Kelton as economic advisor. She teaches neo-chartalism, which came from Mosler. They have optimism about the future if the state learns their econ, but I don't. I am a pessimist. I see the state as bad faith, all in service of rich people. That's proven by Gillens and Page. I think chartalism is useful to weak people. All right, I'm going to look that up. I don't know what that is. Chartalism. In macroeconomics, chartalism is a theory of money that argues that money originated with states' attempt to direct economic activity rather than as a spontaneous solution to the problems with barter or as a means to which to tokenize debt. All right, hold on. I'm going to read this. This is Wikipedia, but I'm going to read this whole thing. Where was I? Sorry. With which to tokenize debt, and that flat currency has value in exchange because of sovereign power to levy taxes on economic activity payable in the currency they issue. Steve, are you an anarchist by chance? I'm just curious. Just philosophically, I'm curious. Where, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I thought so. I mean, that's, you're far more left than I, then, if you are left anarchist, but yeah, I mean, I get it, right? The state is sometimes not to be trusted. But I think the state is necessary. It's a necessary evil, in my opinion. And I don't think that we would ever get to an anarchist society. Certainly not in our lifetime, you know, but I'm certainly all for taking the steps to get further left, to go towards, well, I mean, I guess for you having no state and structure is ideal. So I don't know if I can even come close to that, but that's an interesting perspective. It's an interesting perspective. All right, we're going to move on to this next one. It is natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. Oh, yeah. Strongly agree. I think that is definitely true. For me, in particular. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Strongly agree. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. Oh, man. Isn't that loaded? No, I don't think that should be the primary function of schooling. It's helpful for that, but that should not be the prime function of schooling. I think we should... I wish I learned a lot more of the stuff that we're talking about today. Philosophy. Sociology. How to live in your current society. And what changes you want to see in that society. Not just to live in it. People with serious inheritable diseases should not be allowed to reproduce. Strongly disagree. Strongly disagree with that. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. That is not the most important thing for children to learn. Though I wish mine would accept some discipline right now. If you ask me right now, I would strongly agree. For the most part, ordinarily, strongly disagree. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Yeah, I guess I would have to agree with that. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to I'm not sure if I'm defining that right, but we're going to go with it. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. No, I disagree with that. Gotta hold up our folks, you know? Protect our kids. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. That's what everybody tells me to do. It doesn't work. Strongly disagree. So everybody tells people with depression, oh, just keep busy, you'll be all right. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. First-generation immigrants can never be fully integrated with their new country. No, I strongly disagree. Not that they have to be, but they certainly can. I guess when I think of integrated, I'm thinking about like cultural integration, but I mean, specifically in America, why would you have to be? Yeah, I shouldn't even say that. I think people should be able to go anywhere they want to go, whether they become fully integrated or not. My position. What's good for the most successful corporations is always, ultimately, good for all of us. Excuse me? No. Strongly disagree. I hate to say Ted, I've never actually said this out loud. I hate to say atodaso. Atodaso? What is a todaso? I've been meaning to ask. It shows a fundamental misunderstanding of depression when people say that shit. I know. It's so frustrating. People say that shit all the time. No broadcasting institution, however independent, is content. I'm sorry. No broadcasting institution, no matter however independent its content, should receive public funding. Yeah, I mean, this is a PBS question, right? Yeah, no, strongly disagree. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Strongly disagree. It's a Trailer Park Boys reference? Oh. Oh, I see. Okay. I never really watched Trailer Park Boys. I've seen a few episodes, but it is funny. A significant advantage of a one-party state. Hold on, let me back up. You want more counterterrorism. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. I don't necessarily want more counterterrorism. I don't think that's the question. The question is, do I disagree that our civil liberties are being excessively curbed? And I don't think that's the case. Yeah, that's the answer. The significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all arguments. No, I'm certainly pro-democracy. Certainly pro-democracy. Wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't. Let's see. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only the wrongdoers need to be worried. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I definitely think that there is a line, and I know that Steve is gonna disagree with me on this one for sure. Steve says go back to the one party. All right. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Oh, maybe I didn't read that fully. Hold on. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Oh. You're right. I did not read that correctly. Thanks for catching me on that, Steve. Yeah, meant to go the other way on this one. Skewed my results, man. I could have skewed my results. All right. All right, let's go back to this one. So the electronic age makes official surveillance easier. Only wrongdoers need to be worried. So is there a line of privacy that I would like to keep? Yeah. But I'm not overly concerned right now. Now, I guess it would depend on the state or on who is surveilling me, right? If I lived in a tyrannical government or an authoritarian state, I would be more concerned than I am now. And I guess you could argue to what level of authoritarian is our state. But I'm not all that concerned about it myself. So I'm going to say agree on that one. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Strongly disagree there. Strongly disagree there. I don't think we should take anybody's life. The state does not have that authority. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Yeah, I strongly disagree with that. Strongly disagree with that. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Strongly disagree with that. Art can be anything, including this weird stream. Though I don't consider it art. Just be clear. I don't think I'm an artist. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. No, strongly disagree with that. Strongly disagree with that. I believe that we should try to rehabilitate everybody. Punishment is not an effective tool, not an effective learning tool. It is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. No, you're right. Yeah, so strongly disagree. I mean, we just talked about that. Just talked about that. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Strongly disagree. Yeah, strongly disagree. Though I understand the importance of them. Currently. I do understand. But intellectual property is more important to me. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Nope. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Agree. This is a little out of my wheelhouse. From what I've heard, it's pretty bad. But I don't have any data on me. I guess I could look it up, but I kind of want to get through this. So we're going to go with agree. We're going to go with agree. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Maturity. It's an interesting way to put it. Steve says, hold on, without considering laws, if a woman neglects her child in order to work, isn't that regrettable? I don't think homemaker is the same thing as mother. Right? I mean, I think homemaker refers to a very specific type of mother. And that is to be the traditional, gender role of the female mother. Obviously, even to have may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. I guess homemakers is the operative word here. You know what? Let's define it. Let's make sure that we're answering this correctly. A person, especially a housewife, who manages a home. Yeah, I disagree. I would disagree with that on a couple of levels then. So, I don't think the mother's first duty necessarily is to be a homemaker. I think the mother's spouse may be able to be a homemaker. Don't worry about this question. I'm talking about parents' duty. Yeah, I think that's where we got off track. Cap, welcome, my friend. Welcome. Appreciate you joining. We're going over my political compass test, and we're almost done. Couple more pages. We'll get there. I'm interested to see where we land. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Man, I don't know how to answer this. I'm going to say agree. Though I don't have, anti-establishment is certainly important to me as well. But I mean, I'm just maybe it's just my, again, I keep kind of flip-flopping between like utopian and reality. Like I have made peace with the establishment that I currently live in. Does that make me mature? Maybe not. Perhaps it makes me a little immature. Maturity is the operative word here, and I'm not sure exactly where I want to put that. I think I might switch to disagree on this one. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. I agree with anti-nationalism that creating pain feeling beings is unethical, and I'm very pro-child. Oh, antinatalism? Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I can agree with you on that one, Steve. You're a radical man. Yeah, I think we're going to disagree on some of this stuff, but that's okay. That's okay. Making peace with the establishment. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to disagree with this because I don't think maturity has anything to do with making peace with establishment. I think that's where I'm going to land. I think it's totally unrelated. Juiciest boy coming back in. Why do you have 9 viewers right now, bro? This is that content, man. This is that content. Cap says, speaking of sophisticated concepts and radical ideas, I need to cut my toenails. Nice, man. Nice. Bring us along with you. Keep us close. Do you cut them into the toilet or the garbage can? That's the question everybody wants to know. Are you a toilet man or are you a garbage can man? Or do you just say fuck it and you get out? Just throw them everywhere. Get me started on astrology? I'm not going to get you started on astrology. I know we'll be here all night. Oh, okay. The bullshit astrology. I didn't even read this next question. Is that what you're talking about? Okay. Astrology accurately explains many things. No, that's not true at all. Cap, you cut him outside? He's moody because it's a Mercury ascending? Oh, Jesus. Danielle, don't. I put a tissue under my toes and cut them wherever I please. Well, at least the tissue's there. It could be worse. Could be just throwing them all outside your house. Cap, you cut him outside, my dude. Stay warm, man. Stay inside. You got a garbage can, right? I don't know what that means. Yeah, I figured. I think retrograde is the word that's usually used for Mercury. Still don't know what that means, but all right. You cannot be moral without being religious. Strongly disagree. I strongly disagree with that. I don't think morality comes from religion whatsoever. He said I got the wrong planet. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. Next question. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Yeah, strongly disagree with that. Charity is unreliable. Strongly disagree with that. Some people are naturally unlucky. Well, if you asked me if I really thought that about myself, I would strongly agree. But I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. Strongly disagree. Some of these are pretty quick. Others require some extra thought. Oh, finally, a look at sex. Good thing my whole family's here. Perfect. Come at me, juice. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Strongly disagree. I should come off pretty liberal on these. Same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Strongly agree. One nation under God. Let's fucking go. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Well, yes. Consenting adults. Sure. Yep. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree. So long as they're consenting adults. No one can feel naturally homosexual. Wait, what? No one can feel naturally homosexual. Strongly. I want to make sure I read that right. There's two ways I can go. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Strongly disagree. Okay. Danielle is funny. He's just mad. All right. That's 6 of 6. Let's see where I stand. We explain the inadequacies of the virtue. Yeah, right. Man. They called me. Oh, wait, no, this is not it. Where is it? All right. I get it. I get it. Okay. I am left libertarian. So my political compass. Economic, left, right is a -8. Social, libertarian, authoritarian, -7.18. I am a leftist libertarian. Yeah, it's pretty much where I thought I would be. And, there was a couple of questions that maybe I could have answered differently. But it's pretty much, where I thought I would land.